Okay, my people, how are you doing today? I am doing great. It's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful day outside, No, it's not a beautiful day. I'm lying. It's very confusing because you don't know whether it's winter, is it summer, because it's hot in the morning and it gets cold later. It's just crazy. I hate it. I hate winter. I don't like winter. It's not for me. I'm sorry. I see a lot of people say, oh, look at the weather. Oh, it's staying in the house weather. I know most of these people just think about nasty things, but I don't like that temperature. I like when it's hot. I'm happy. I'm a true black man. Well, does that mean all black men like the heat? I don't know. But I like it when it's hot. I love it when it's warm. I don't like the cold stuff and anything. Thank you very much for stopping by. You are appreciated. This is home. This is home for most of us. Here we talk about the motherland. Okay, so we're going to do very quickly and go across Africa and see what's happening. This is your first time. My name is Zack. You're welcome. Please click on the button subscribe so we can see each other every day. But before we get started, fellas, can I ask you to do this? Let's all do this, please. It costs you nothing. We feel appreciated. It's done. Great. Let's go. Now, let's talk about chicken. Yes, seriously, let's talk about chicken. Do you like chicken? They say black people like chicken. They say sometimes when white people make jokes about chicken, it's perceived as racist. Why is it racist? But you love chicken, don't you? Well, let's talk about South Africa, this country right here. Beautiful place, lovely people. Well, South Africans love chicken. I'm talking about black South Africans. Matter of fact, the KFC, Kentucky Fried Chicken. I don't know if it's still called Kentucky Fried Chicken, because I believe there was a lawsuit saying that it's not actually chicken. Anyway, let's forget about that. Now, Kentucky Fried Chicken, or KFC in South Africa, has expanded tremendously. Okay, aggressive growth. They have about 1,200 outlets now. Congratulations to them. Are you going to pick my coffee on that or what? Well, probably not. But they're growing up from Johannesburg, Durban, Midrand, and all over the place. So chicken is being sold tremendously in South Africa. I think this is also an opportunity for you if you're in the diaspora, you are in the US or in the Caribbean, or even in Africa. If you have money, that's a good opportunity to invest in. In South Africa, you can open a franchise, a KFC franchise, from 6 million to 7 million rand. That's about $350,000. Yeah. But the return is good. About 20% ROI, okay, per year. 20% on your investments. That's not too bad. I mean, talking about chicken, listen. Chicken used to be a special meal for us. Okay, I'm going to be honest with you. People are playing with chicken today. Like eating chicken back in time in the 90s, hey, for us was something, eh? We ate chicken on Christmas or chicken on a Sunday, like a special Sunday. Or daddy came from a trip, business trip, not business trip, but work trip, and he made some money. Then you're going to have chicken. I mean, we had meat like, chicken feet. You know chicken feet? I don't personally like chicken feet. You see the feet. A lot of Africans do eat it. I believe in Kenya they eat it. In Tanzania, in Eastern Congo, they eat chicken feet. South Africa eat chicken feet. You see, you have a lot in common than you thought, right? So chicken feet, there's also the bum of the chicken, but mostly the bum of the turkey. Turkey's bum. Yes, turkey's bum. So it's a lot of food, as you can see, that came from white man. You know, when a white man kills his meal somewhere in Portugal, then he's like, okay, how do I maximize the money? Let me send the chicken feet to the black people in Africa. Or let me send the turkey's bum, because it's all greasy and fat, to the black people. Yeah, a lot of black people ate that stuff because of difficulties and stuff. I mean, many things are eaten by black people. Some blacks in Africa eat the skin of a goat. Nigerians eat skin of a goat. Okay, they sometimes mix it with fish. And South Africans hate that when Nigerians mix fish and chicken goat. Chicken, goat, and fish in one plate. Yeah. Well, Nigerians love it. Ivorians love it. This is Côte d'Ivoire. They also like it. But some other people don't like it. Anyway, black people eat a lot of things. It's become culture. But when you think about it, it was mostly because of poverty. I'm just going to be honest with you. Why do you think somebody would want to eat a goat's skin if he has abundance of goat? You won't. Rwandese don't eat cow's skin because in their culture, they had a lot of cows. cows was part of the riches. So you will not find Rwandese people eating cow's skin, but you will find some other Africa eat the skin of a cow. And for them, it's not about money anymore. It's become culture. But initially, it was because of poverty. I mean, you see a lot of black people eat chicken feet. Do you think it's because they ate a lot of chicken? That's why they ate chicken feet? I don't think so. I think it has become culture, but it was initially because there wasn't enough chicken to be eaten. So that's what it is. It's also, stripes. How do you call it? The inside of a sheep or goats or cows, yeah. A lot of Africans eat that stuff. And I know it's probably disgusting for you, but it tastes good. I don't think it's because there was a lot of cows and goats and stuff. That's why I think they had to maximize everything they had. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying to you, brother. Africans have a lot more similarities than you can begin to think. Anyway, so great opportunities in South Africa if you want to invest. This is perhaps somewhere you can make a lot of money if you have some of the money. You must have money to make money. Anyway, let's move to Burkina Faso. Burkina Faso right here, beautiful country, lovely people. Now, Burkina Faso is going through something very interesting. They've basically cancelled a commission that surveils elections. This is supposed to be an independent commission whose job is to make sure elections are transparent and real. They've been suspended. The election commission named CENI has been dissolved. And a lot of people are complaining about this because why would you cancel a body of people whose job is to make sure elections are fair? Unless you have negative ideas, and a lot of people are criticizing Ibrahim Traore. Isn't that a question you need to ask yourself? I know you love him. He's a great guy and he's shown leadership and some other things. But why would you cancel a group of people whose job is to make sure elections are fair and real? Well, on October 29th, Burkina Faso Transitional Legislative approved the dissolution of the independent CNI, which had operated for over 20 years. This started in 1996. That's when they initially started. And they have managed many elections, trying to make sure that the elections are fair and true. Okay, some of their responsibilities were organizing all national and local elections, certifying public election results officially, and handling electoral disputes and complaints in coordination with judicial authorities. So now the question is, again, why would you dissolve these people? Unless you're trying to be a dictator or what? Do you agree? Do you think Traore is a dictator maybe? Because people are saying he doesn't want to organize elections. Because remember, the guy came into power in 2022. And he promised to have election held in 2024 with the civilian authorities. But in 2023, he said, no, he's not going to have elections. They're going to push it 5 years again. So there's not going to be any election at least until early 2029. Now, people are saying, why is he doing this? Is he trying to keep himself in power like other African presidents or what? But let's see, who sponsors CNI? I mean, we have to dig deep to find out the truth. Well, this organization is primarily funded by the Burkina Faso national budget. There's a budget that comes from the Burkina Faso's government, but also by international donors. Okay, now it becomes interesting. Which are these donors? We have the European Union, the United Nations Development Program, that UNDP. We have the United States Agency International Development, that's USAID. We have International Organization de la Francophonie, so that's an organization from France. So clearly you can see, I think they're probably thinking like, because these people are being sponsored by foreigners, yeah, they may just say, okay, you won the election unfairly. You know what I mean? Because how do you trust somebody that's fed by your enemy? I'm just asking. How do you trust a child that gets... You know what I'm saying? I mean, it becomes very complicated. You have a friend who's supposed to be your friend, but your friend is sponsored by somebody that hates you. How do you know he's still your friend? Question mark. Now, is Burkina Faso right to dissolve this electoral election commission? Question mark. Do you think this is or not an opportunity for Traore to stay in power forever? Question mark. Do you think right now it is necessary for him to take the right measure? Let me know how you feel about that. And now we're moving to Sudan. Fellas, I know we all heard stories about Sudan. Some really drastic things are happening over there. Many people are being unalive. There's a geno happening against black people in Sudan. Let's call it what it is. Sudan is divided in two. Okay, one side is Arab-looking people, or Arab-speaking at least. They look blacker than some of us, but they believe they're Arabs. And the southern side of Sudan, that's mostly black people. Sudan used to be the biggest country in Africa, until the black people complained, saying they're being neglected, saying they were not looked after. The government was only investing into the Arab-looking areas. There was no infrastructure, no hospitals, no roads, no transportation for the black people. So they decided we can't have this anymore. There was a major war in Sudan, in Darfur. Now, what happened? The government engaged a bunch of group of armed people to go and unalive black people. Yes. So Arabic people in Sudan were unaliving all black people that dared speak loud about their requirement. So shut up, you little black man. Even if you're mistreated, you're not getting service delivery. If you open your mouth, we're going to unalive you. So many people were unalived. Now there was a group of people named Janjaweed. These people, they were the most ruthless of all the people that were trying to stop black people in Sudan. The Janjaweed became the RSF after many years because they were trying to clean up their image. Now, you've recently seen an image of this guy here. I think his name is Lulu something. This guy is unalive over 1,000 black people. And he's proud of it. He's been taking videos of him shooting at people. Yes. I saw some of his videos on TikTok and I was very, very angry, irritated. Because somebody that feels like there's nothing you can do about it. And he's on TikTok, you know what I mean? Apparently he's been arrested. Sudan just announced that the general, this guy here, the general of the RSF, has ordered investigation.
لكن الآن لجان نظرة الفاشل. لجنة التحقيق تبدأ فورا في تحقيق ومحاسبة أي جندي أو أي ضابط ارتكب جرم أو تجاوز حدوده في حق أي إنسان ده فورا يتم القبض وعلنا.
After footage showing fighters unaliving unarmed civilians and the global outrage, people made a lot of noise about this. People called it out.
As you have heard, El Fasher, already the scene of catastrophic levels of human suffering, has descended into an even darker hell, with credible reports of widespread executions after Rapid Support Forces fighters entered the city. We cannot hear the screams, but as we sit here today, the horror is continuing. Women and girls are being raped, people mutilated and killed with utter impunity.
And now the general of the RSF has ordered an investigation and they've had this guy arrested. I don't know if you've seen the video of him being arrested. You can see it looks like freaking Hollywood cinema. They're trying to clean up. They're trying to clean up. Their sponsors say, you know what, you need to do a PR job. Because how about you unalive him so we know it's real? No, put him in front of the camera in the same way he did people, do to him so we know it's true. I mean, why would you want to investigate a guy that's unalive, is proud of unaliving 1,000 people? What's that for? How do you explain that? Why is he going to jail for? If you're serious, put him on a shoot squad and let's see. Now we're moving to Kenya. Fellas, in Kenya, unfortunately, we have some bad news. The bad news is that there was a crash. Yes, an airplane crash, unfortunately, in Masai Mara National Reserve. Masai Mara is one of the most beautiful places you will see in Africa. A great place to see animals, lions, elephants, leopards, and all that. And a lot of tourists, many people coming from Europe and America will go to Masai Mara and enjoy. It's a beautiful place to see. But sometimes they can take aeroplane, small planes to fly and see what's up. Unfortunately, we don't know, we're not sure what's happened, but yeah, those people were unalive, 11 people.
We would want to send our deepest condolences to the families of those who lost their lives in this accident. 11 of the persons who are in the plane all perished in the accident. As for the details of those who are in the plane, I think also it will be appropriate once all the information that is of the persons who are in the plane has been adequately collected and confirmed.
Very, very sad. I would personally not take any of those small private planes. I wouldn't. I'd rather jump in a car like everybody else and go and watch the lion and stuff. But I can understand people wanting to have a different experience. You can still visit Kenya. It's a beautiful place. It's just sad, the situation. And another situation in Kenya still, fellas. Kenya has intercepted a stateless dhow. That's a little boat. That's called dhow. Okay, that's New English for most of us. Dhow. Approximately 340 miles east of Mombasa. So they've intercepted a dhow with drugs. So the vessel was carrying about 1,200 kilograms of crystal methamphetamine. There were 11 people in the boat. 9 of them were Iranian. And 2 of them were from an African country. I'm not going to name the African country. Yeah. So basically they were trying to bring 1,000 kilograms of methamphetamine into Kenya so they can distribute and some of it to go somewhere else.
The vessel you see behind us has been under the radar of the international community, being suspected of carrying out illicit, particularly narcotics activities within the Western Indian Ocean.
It's just crazy. Yeah, it's crazy to see how much African people are consuming. It's crazy to see how much East African people are consuming some of this stuff. It's crazy. It's insane, the amount, you know. It's insane. Just a couple of weeks ago, we spoke about the Mexican cartel coming into Africa, especially in Kenya and somewhere next to South Africa. In Limpopo, I believe, in South Africa. And some of them were arrested. They arrested some of the Mexican people from a very renowned cartel. This is not just drug dealing. These are people that unalive people. And we're talking about a cartel that fight against an army of a nation. These people don't play. If you allow them in your country, my brother, you're done. Okay? And it's sad to see that it's becoming more and more real in Africa. That's what it is, fellas. It was a great pleasure. Today, we salute everybody that eats chicken. I mean, we play with chicken today. I mean, thanks to GMO. I'm just going to be honest with you. GMO has made chicken very easy for a lot of Africans. Yeah, most of the chicken you eat are not real chicken anyway. They are genetically modified chicken to make it cheaper. Because real chicken that we hate was very hard to chew. Okay, some people call it a hard body. Some people call it chicken from the village. Yeah, that the one that ran. You must follow it. You must follow the chicken. 13 people following the chicken. When you grab the chicken, then people know. I even know some people that couldn't eat the chicken that they saw alive. Like my dad wouldn't eat the chicken if he saw the chicken alive. He wouldn't eat it. I'm like, okay, more meat for us. Thank you. And also in Africa, in many African nations, they will give you the liver. The liver of the chicken is reserved to the father of the house. Yeah, it's supposed to be a delicious piece of meat. But obviously your GMO chicken the liver don't taste nice. You know that. Is it the liver or something else? I think it's the liver, right? Yes. I believe it's a liver. The liver of the chicken you eat today is not special because it's not nice. But the liver from the original chicken, the village chicken, the hard body, my friend, that is chicken. You know, when you buy chicken, you must drag it like, not melting in your mouth. Since when chicken melts in people's mouth? I don't know what the hell you guys are eating. I mean, even some of us eat goat. You eat goat. You eat goat. Well, a lot of Africans eat goat. I don't know why you don't eat goat. But goat's supposed to stink. They have a smell, like a distinct aroma, yeah. If it doesn't, have you noticed that goats of today don't stink no more? They don't stink. They smell like perfume. Something's changed. And if you look at the goats of today, they don't fight. I mean, you remember back in time, goats used to fight with each other. Like they go. I remember, playing in the neighborhood, the goats will fight each other and you will watch. And sometimes we bet which goat will win and which goat will run away. Now goats don't fight no more. If you see the goats, even the sheep, they don't fight. They just became husband and wife, even though they're both males. Something has happened to this goat. Their tendencies have changed. Goats used to follow you see goats, always looking for females. They don't look for females anymore. They just goat male and male, female and female. This society, man. I don't know. I want to go back in time. Let me know how you feel about this. It was a great pleasure. God bless.